We're ready to start class. So, I don't know, attention or whatever I should say. We've got a wonderful scene of a jetty and windswept cedar trees with a little bit hint of water. And a path that kind of leads you back sort of in that direction. Here's my thumbnail sketch, and I sort of felt that this area, right where the rocks hit the dark trees, was going to be my focal point. I mean, maybe the path is, but I kind of like this area right there where you zoom in and look at those crazy trees. And I put this up, which we've done before. Oh, here's Ellen. Welcome, Ellen. I've done this before. When you're planning a painting or a composition, it's often good to have your focal point in one of these four places. You take your picture and you divide it into thirds, like tic-tac-toe. And in this case, I sort of have I've got a lower quadrant down in here, corresponding to this one. So that's something to keep in mind when you're setting up. And you say, well, what's my focal point? And then you kind of move your drawing around until the focal point ends up in one of these special places. I do have a quote of the day. When you learn to dance with it, not against it, watercolor reveals all its charms. So we'll see if we can dance through this painting with our brush and have some fun. All right, I'm going to take a sip of coffee first. And you can see my palette on your screen at home. I'm taking some pure water, and I'm going to pre-wet the sky right down through the headlands and into some of these trees. But I won't go to the water, and I certainly won't get into the light-colored sand. I'm going to put a little touch of color on this so it's not just pure, so you can actually see it. Okay, so here we go. I have my piece of paper at a slight tilt, and those in the gallery have their painting surfaces on a 2x4, just so just a slight. Come on, I need a lot more water than this. This is Arches paper I'm using, and it is very absorbent. So I need a lot of water here. Holy smokes. All right, so I'm just painting water. Again, I'm really not trying to paint the sky. I'm just trying to get the paper wet. Right down to here. Of course, I've got an even horizon line. Then I will go down through those trees. This tree down here, before I go on into that one. Okay, and now I'm going to put a little bit of Windsor yellow or aureolin right at the horizon line. I want this to feel like a morning painting, so I'm putting this little bit of glow. If I don't put enough of it, I'm going to be mad later on. So there it is, that little bit of yellow. And again, you don't have to do this. It's just something I kind of like to do. It breaks up the sky.
Or you can do pink or lavender.
Right, you can do pink or, yes, you can do, yeah. And now I'm going to go up from the top of the sky. I'm going to do what's called a blended wash. I want to get this yellow off of here, otherwise I'm going to get green. And this is going to be pretty strong. I'm going to get a lot of color. The paper is pre-wet. I wouldn't try to paint with me, but just watch, and then I will stop after 6 minutes, and then you will sort of remember what I did and just catch up to me. So So I will be doing everything down to the water line. So ultramarine at the top, and then I'm adding, I want to lighten up as it goes down, so then I'm going to a little cerulean blue. And as I go, the color is lightening up as I go down. I try not to go back into that. Okay, I'm going to put this, I'm going to put some blue into the tree areas just to hold them, to remind them I get that I have trees in there. Yeah, I think I'm, did that faster than I thought. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to put a little bit of raw sienna right at the level of what would be a beach on that far headland. So this is raw sienna. I just want to capture that little bit of yellow. Later I will be putting in the ocean, and I will come right up to it. You know, I overdid it here, so I gotta take that up. You can correct in watercolor. Okay, I'm gonna stop there and let you all work on your sky with a blended wash. Remember, if you think the color looks too strong, you probably need to make it stronger, because the watercolor always dries lighter than what you put on. And it's always, you hope you want to get it right the first time. All right, if I give you too much time, you're going to diddle around. So I'm gonna move along. You know, a lot of these will be 4, 5, or 6 minute bursts, and then I'll stop and let you guys catch up to me. So now in watercolor, the rule of thumb is that you paint from light to dark. So we figure the sky is fairly light. Quite honestly, I think the sand is lightest. Actually, the rocks are the lightest. The tops of these rocks over here are lighter even than the sand. At least that's the way I've made my decision in my value sketch. So I'm going to pre-wet the rocks. And I'm going to, but the rocks nearest that dark tree, I am not going to pre-wet. I'm going to leave them white. So I'm just going to pre-wet with my large brush. Oh, I should let you see where it's going. Maybe you can just see a little bit of. Okay, here's just water onto rocks. And I don't think I'm even going to get into the shadows of the rocks yet. And I'm going to drop ultramarine blue and Windsor red. Oops, I got too much red in there. Okay, I don't want to mix too much, but here we go. If it feels too blue, add a little bit of red. Let me get these a little bit of warmth. Okay, so here are these rocks. They're looking really dark on the screen, but I think they are going to dry lighter. And a couple places I see some rocks that are more burnt sienna or raw sienna. I'm going to put in some yellowy rocks in here. This big triangular rock here, and maybe one of them in the back. And maybe drop in a little bit of something here, so they're not all the same color. So I've dropped purples and yellows, and I'm really not worrying too much about the edges between the rocks, but I am careful up against the ocean. There we go. There we go. And I'm gonna stop there and let you guys catch up with that part. Again, just about 2 minutes. Again, I used a flat brush, a large one, and then a 3/4 inch one. Again, red, yellow, and blue.
Should I finish off the sky before starting that?
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
Go back to the sky.
No, do the sky. Because you gotta we can't do the trees, Bill, until the sky's dry, you know?
No.
So if you wait on the sky, then you're gonna get stymied.
Ned, this is Laurie,
Yeah,
did you
bud.
use the same blue in the sky as you did in the rocks?
I used some ultramarine, which I started with at the top of the sky, and then I moved to cerulean partway down.
Oh, okay. I thought there was a difference and I forgot what it was. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. No, you ask a good question. I have cobalt blue in my palette. I have phthalo blue in my palette, and I could use different blues in each area, but by using one blue as your mixing color, you get a unity to the painting. If you grab different tubes of blue for rocks versus sky versus a different blue in the green trees, you end up maybe with a little bit of a schizophrenic color scheme.
I can do that.
So the top part of the sky is
Yeah.
ultramarine.
Yeah.
And then you did some cerulean.
Yep.
Now how about in the rocks?
And the rocks, I did ultramarine and Windsor red.
Okay, got that. Okay, thank you, sir.
Sure.
I was getting myself still organized.
And how about the other rocks? What color were they?
Oh, that was the yellower ones were raw sienna.
Thank you.
And I'm looking here, like maybe this one is too dark. So I'm using my brush to lift out a little bit of color. Maybe I'll lift out a little bit of that one.
Great.
Yeah, so I can pull out some color so that the rocks aren't all exactly the same. Light, dark.
And while you're at it, would you tell me the yellow again?
Raw sienna. It's sort of that dirty yellow color.
Turn it.
I'm not going to pre-wet it. I'm going to use this round brush, kind of a squirrel moppy thing. It's not great for details, but it's good for covering a lot of areas. And I'm going to use some raw sienna. Quite honestly, the picture, you could say the sand is white. I mean, it's just bleached out. But I want to get some color in here. So I've just decided that I'm going to use some raw sienna and permanent rose, which is going to give me a nice warmth. I don't want to get too far into the red, but I want to get a feeling of warm sand. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to take this sand right down underneath this bush there. I'll deal with that bush later. And the sand is going to go right up to the rocks. And if the sand color blends in with the rocks a little bit, no big deal, because where it's blending, it's in shadow. So we will be painting a dark color into it. So here's this, and at the bottom, I'm going to add a little bit more color, a little stronger, just like at the top of the sky is darker, the bottom of the sand has stronger color. There we go. So stronger color here, a little bit lighter up there. Wow, that was fast. And then I'm gonna, because I want a little bit of texture. This is sand in it, remember? So I'm gonna take a little bit of the raw sienna and the, what did I just have? That permanent rose. I'm gonna splatter a little this. I'm gonna take some of those two colors with very little water. Oh, come on. Come on, I got too much red in it. Okay, and I'm just gonna splatter. I feel like it needs to be drier, my brush. I'm just gonna splatter some stuff
Almost
down
looks
here.
like a trail leading up to a murder.
Yeah. All right.
Rename the painting.
All right, and now I'm gonna grab a little bit of cerulean to get some of the,
Just kidding, Judy.
yes. And again, I'm sort of banging it, if you can see me, yeah, I'm sort of banging it on my finger. Maybe a little touch of ultramarine.
And my red is too red, so it looks like the person bled.
So I'm just banging it here. There's, oh wow, boom, 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 boom. So when you get the contrast of the little bits of splatters of dark, and we'll make those into maybe some little footprints here. I don't want to get too fussy with this.
Is that something I might want to wait until I get home and practice a little on something
I
else?
suppose you could.
Or is this why I carry a toothbrush with me?
Oh yeah, that's right. This is where you could use your toothbrush. I can maybe do some dry brush later on. I'm getting a little carried away. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. I got maybe a little bit too much of that blue in there. Any place I think I don't went too crazy, I can take a little bit of it out. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that, and we'll work on your sand. Maybe some splatters if you feel like it.
And you pre-wet?
I didn't pre-wet.
Oh.
Yeah. But make sure when you splatter, you don't get it splattered into your sky. That would make you mad. Okay, I'm ready to move on to another step. If you look at your paper, except for and we'll get to the ocean in a minute, but I want to get this bush knocked off early so that it dries before I put in some dark trees behind it. But basically we have 75% of the painting covered, maybe more. You know, there's not a lot of white paper left, which is good. You want to start keeping your painting in balance. You want to leave a lot of white areas because it's very, very hard to watch your values. So anyway, get a lot of surface area covered, and we can go back into different areas with more color, which we will, like the shadows in the rocks and different distant headlands. We'll get into that. But I want to get into. I'm going to use this moppy brush. I'm going to do this just big prickly bush, which really doesn't have much color to it. So I have to make it interesting. I'm going to use a little raw sienna. Should have been my yellow, as we've been going along. A little alizarin. And a little ultramarine. Now, a red, yellow, and blue always give you gray. So there we go. So I'm going to paint this. I'm going to get a little more color. I feel like this needs a little more oomph. Okay, I'm going to get the yellowy red near the top, figuring the light is hitting it up there. And I will be painting down into this edge with these dark trees. And at the bottom edge of this, I'm going to add more cerulean because there's less light that hits the bush underneath it. So there we have this great big lump. Now, I'm gonna take some color. Let's see. Lisbon, raw sienna, and I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna make little branches, bristly things coming out at the edge of this bush. I just want to give a feeling of that raggedy edge, which I will get later up here, but I just want to get that edge over the sand. So I kind of knock that out for now. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, I'm hearing Judy here in the studio getting more water. It's good to change your water. If you start getting too much blue or red into it, it's going to affect your colors later. So, okay, let's leave this bush. Let's leave that sit. Okay, do the bush, and we're going to come back and do the water next. And I figure by now the rocks are dry and those headlands are dry, so we can get into the ocean in a minute. So put a little color, a little blush of color into those bushes, those grayish bushes. And we'll go back into that with some more color later on, I think. Okay, so that bush wasn't too much. We're not covering a lot of surface area there. So I'm ready to start with the blue. And in this picture, it's not the darkest because the trees are the darkest, but it's a pretty damn strong color. So I have it in my value sketch as a 3. Usually water is a lighter tone, but this one's pretty strong. So I'm going to take my round, I call it a Princeton brush. I can't even read the writing on it anymore. And I'm going to use ultramarine blue. I get a puddle of that out ready. Yeah, I don't.
What number Princeton?
I think it's a number 12.
Okay.
And I'm going to go right. I'm not pre-wetting this. I'm going to go right at the bottom of that beach. Draw a line there. Boy, I need it stronger. Come on, get it. Okay, right. I can go right into the bush because I'm going to make the bush darker. Got some blue over here, and then some strong blue at the end of the path there. And then I'm going to take this blue. Oh, I like those little sparkles there. By accident, I got a little bit of dry brush, and that looks like sparkle on the water. And I'll just leave that. Mm-hmm. I could be tempted to go, oh, whoops, I don't know about that. But I kind of, if the brush does it, this is the dance. And I'm adding a little bit more water to the, boy, let's get this. I want it strongest at the top. And then lighter toward the bottom. Now I want to make sure I don't cut into my rocks, but they are going to be darker than the rocks.
Tell us the color of blue again. Can you tell I'm having trouble with my blues?
Yeah, all it is ultramarine. I usually put a couple of colors in there, but I'm just leaving it at ultramarine.
Of course, if you're feeling daring, you could always use Phthalo.
Yeah. Bill's being all dastardly.
Of course.
Good advice.
Yeah, Judy brings that out of me.
I do.
Okay. Okay, good. Done with that. A little bit of blue. Wow, it really anchors the distant sections there.
I'm sorry, which one did you use on this, the new one here?
Yeah, the blue you mean?
Yeah.
It's just ultramarine. Good old ultramarine.
And you wet it first?
I didn't.
Huh?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
No. That's scary.
Ned, you often say, I always forget, deeper, darker, duller, or something like that with water. Can you explain that and what you've done here, which is different?
Well, that's Ellen. That's with reflections. If I have a puddle and it's reflecting a red barn in the puddle, I make the red barn a little bit deeper, stronger red, darker red, and maybe a little bit of blue to make it duller. So it's in reflections that I do the deeper, darker, duller.
Like if we're in a harbor doing a sailboat.
Well, not yeah, I suppose. Yep.
That sailboat?
Okay, good.
Yeah, don't fuss with it too much. You're fine. I'm dropping a little bit of blue back in that distance, and it's done. I dropped my blue down a little. Well, I just drew it so that I had more sand. All right, I'm ready to do the headlands, the distant landmass on the left, and I'm going to get, no, not that one. I'm going to get a little bit of new gamboge yellow and ultramarine blue, and I'm going to get the tops of these are going to be more yellowy. I figure there's more sunlight hitting them. I'm putting, let's go. I don't want to let the yellow get too crazy here. So the tops I'm putting here. And then I'm coming in with the darker blue, the darker green underneath. And I do see it's darker at the bottom, nearest the beach. So I've got my darker So I want a feeling of the
Headlands.
land mass in layers. And I'm going into the green and the bushes, but I'll fuss with that later. And then way back in the distance, the distant headlands, I'm gonna just use a little bit of cerulean blue. I've still got some green on my brush, but I just want the feeling it's a very light. That's the most distant part.
So that's New Gamboge and Ultramarine.
Yep, in these areas over here. I didn't try to drop in any of the houses that sort of pop up in there. This looks a little bit like a windswept,
Yeah, so there's
Castaway.
No condos in the background.
Castaway Island. Yeah, no condos.
The waterfront property.
So I'm tempted to go into those rocks, but I think I want to save those darks till after I've done the greens. Hi there. Well, you can join the art class.
Greetings. Welcome.
I'm going to do the cypress trees on the right first,
Is that what those are?
and then I may stop and take a break, and I'll save the windswept ones that are focal point here. I'll save them for next, but they'll be obviously the similar colors. I'm going to start with a little bit. I'm going to use my good sized mop brush. So I'm going to use a little New Gamboge yellow. I've got a lot of color on here, or a lot of water and color. And ultramarine blue. Okay, here we go. So the edge of this tree, which way is the sun coming from? From is coming from the left. So the left side of these trees are going to be lighter than their right sides. So here's my dance. I'm just using my brush. Is going to make these little. Got awful lot of water on there, so I got to be careful. Okay, good. And I'm taking the same color because I see this is a couple of trees here. New Gamboge. And here I'm just
So you're still doing the ultramarine and New Gamboge
Yep.
for that side. Oh,
For that
one
side.
side of the tree.
Yep. And I may have a third tree kicking her up around here. Okay, now I'm going to take more ultramarine back in the new gamboge, and I'm going to, this side of it is going to be much darker. Try not to have a little bit less water so I'm not getting too dribbly here.
And if you're really adventurous, you can use phthalo.
Where's the?
All right.
You wet it first or not?
I didn't know. Wow, I feel like I got a lot of water on this brush. I mean, one stroke makes the whole bush, but it can also, it can get away from me. So now I'm going to do, as I paint this, I'm going to create a little bit of a raggedy edge. Maybe I'll do this brush. Okay, there we go. Then we're going to do some more blue. And this is pure. Okay, just creating like the back of a porcupine. I'm just creating this little scruffy mess up here with my brush. Remember, these are wind-swept trees, so the wind is blowing from left to right in this. And now I'm going to add a little bit of alizarin crimson because the red makes the greens darker. And you'll see this happening right there in front of you. Right there. Okay. Okay, so I basically have a blue, a new gamboge yellow, and ultramarine, making a green on sort of the left sides of these three trees. And I have a little bit of alizarin crimson into the really darkest spots on the left sides of these trees. So I get this sort of dark, light, medium. Dark, light, medium, light. Yeah, that's pretty good. I got a big blob of water down here. I don't want it to dribble down into that bush. So I'm gonna lift it out a little bit. There we go. That looks pretty good. Wow. Now we've gotten some of our darkest darks in there. We've got some lights, we've got some middle values. We still need to work on the rocks and the shadows that sweep out into the into the sand, but we'll get there.
Okay, so what are we doing here? Hmm. So you do see it as a lumpy hill.
Yeah.
All right, I'm about to start on these, on the two sort of windswept trees here, and it's basically going to be similar to what I just did. I'm going to use new gamboge yellow on the left edges of it, an ultramarine blue, and maybe a little bit of alizarin to make it darker. Okay. You know, these greens aren't going to be as yellowy as some of the other ones, so I may use raw sienna too. All right, here we go. I'm going to start with a little bit of ultramarine, new gamboge, with a little bit of ultramarine. So I got a light. I think I want more yellow in that.
Oh, I already painted that.
Oh, you have? Okay, that's fine.
By accident, sort of. Although I could put another one in.
Okay, so here's where we're doing the dance that I quoted at the beginning. With watercolor, you learn to dance with it, not against it. So I'm dropping this yellow into here. And this has a nice, like a Christmas tree top to it up here. Yeah, I don't want to get too literal about that. Okay, I'm going to take some raw sienna. Well, let's see. Yeah, yeah. Raw sienna and ultramarine for another section of this. And notice the wind has been blowing at it from left to right. These things are windswept from one direction. So I want to capture that. And you want to make these trees not symmetrical like a Christmas tree, but as irregular and asymmetrical with different size branches on one side versus another. Now what are we doing down here? I'm getting down into, let me fuss with this. And there's some places maybe I want to leave some sky holes. I'm not really. Yeah, I like those sky holes. Boom, boom, boom. Coming down right against that rock. Now what am I doing? I see some of these bushes here. Similar to the bush on the other side. putting in some Windsor red and raw sienna. Oh boy. Okay, making these little prickly things. This is this prickly mass you have to walk around to get down to the water. And then I'm going to go back into the, and now I've got the other tree. I hope I'm not. Okay. Liking this. Okay, now I'm going to get that reddish tone in here. Now I'm going to put a little bit of alizarin crimson into some of the darks of these trees. On the bottom edge of this and bring a little bit of cerulean. Okay. All right, I've done that tree. I'm going to do a couple of little teeny branches with one of my tiny brushes. This can either make or break. You know, if you do it once and it looks good, don't do it again. Like, don't overdo it like I might be doing now. Okay, so I have a couple little twiggy things sticking out. We'll let that sit. I think it looks pretty good. Some reds, blues, yellows. We're getting there. We're close. The rocks now have had a tone on them, but they're not articulated. They're not three-dimensional. So I'm going to link the shadows in the rocks so that I'm not doing one rock and its shadow, second rock and its shadow, third rock and its shadow. I'm going to link the shadows as I go I got to be careful that I am watching the photograph, watching some of the shapes of the shadows. I'm going to take some of the colors that I used before. I think what I use, I use some ultramarine blue. I've been using that a lot. Maybe some Windsor red, because I think that's what I used before. And if I want to get some of that yellow in there, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so I'm looking here. I'm going to have a dark rock here. And I'm going to keep I want this nice light edge to this rock to remain sharp. But this part I could care less about. I'm going to go up with a little tone up in here to create another shadow. That rock. Now this rock has a, well, I'm getting a little bit mixed up here, but I'm gonna take a shadow right down across there. I sort of made that one up. And I go up here. I'm going around this one. And this light, this tannish rock is gonna have, there we go. Oh, I like that. That defines that rock nicely. Little rock above it. Little rock there. Linking the shadows. So I've got this zigzag line here, linking some of these shadows, and I'm going to take what am I doing with that thing? It goes up there. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I'm going to say that this. That makes sense there. This. Okay, let's get a little more red. Whenever it starts to look dull, I'll just add more color. I'm putting a little more red into this shadow just because I think they got a little gray looking. There's that. Okay, the tops of these rocks are fairly light. I think I'm gonna take this down a notch. This is just a little bit of ultramarine. Just taking that down a little bit. Leaving that little square section to be in sunlight. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a little bit of that too. Little hint of white on the tops of these. That looks nice. I like that.
Will you soften some of those hard lines?
I don't know. I mean, the shadow lines.
Yeah,
I don't think so because they're rocks, you know.
sure.
So I'm not gonna fiddle with them. And while I've got this, I really need to get into the shadows while I'm doing it. Now, the shadows are not going to be as dark as the rocks. And I got to get some of the dirtiness out of here. Let's go. Lizerin Ultramarine. Let's get a little more. Let's get a little more blue into it. Okay. Now, these are not going to be, I'm telling myself, not as dark as the rocks. Here we go. And they do have, because they're going on sand, they kind of undulate a little bit. This will go like that. There's that one. And there we go. Now I'm going to make this stuff up down here. I'm going to make some of these bigger than they are in the picture. I want the biggest ones nearest me. And okay, dark, dark. There we go. Knock that down. Put a little bit of darks across here. How are we doing? And there is there's a shadow across that path, but I don't want to. I want your eye to go through. I don't want the eye to get stopped by that shadow. So I'm gonna do this. Do a little bit of shadow underneath this bush. How are we doing? The rocks look good? I think this could come down a little bit. I may take this down just another tone. There we go. And I'm throwing a little bit of dry brush across here. Taking the water out of the brush and just scraping the tops of the paper and giving it a little bit of texture. Okay, I kind of like that. Got these two rocks looking nice and bright. We're going to do something with this porcupine bush, but I'm going to save that for the last step. Okay, so use your shadow shapes. They're on the cool side, but you can add some warm colors into them. The tops of the rocks should be lighter because they're catching the sunlight. Okay. Or am I sensing these shadows need to be a little darker?
Julian cleaned and painted this.
Wow. Are you still getting stuff from her, like
Yeah.
Facebook and things?
Yeah.
She's doing well. Where's she in Florida?
Well, she's a real estate person,
Yeah, I know that.
and she's based out of New York City.
Oh, I thought she was went south.
Right, well, she's, got like a place down in Sarasota,
Okay.
so that she doesn't break her ankle or her wrist, you know, here in the winter. And then I believe her daughter and son-in-law may still be in homes or over in
That's right.
Connecticut.
Yeah.
But I'm always interested in what she has to say about New York real estate,
Uh-huh.
always.
Wow, it's looking very red over there.
Metro North coming in for a landing.
Ned,
Yeah.
does it seem to you that the bush on the right is impeding your attention?
Yup.
Your focal point?
Yup, and that's my last. Good for you. That's my last. I'm looking at the thing. It looks like a big white, porcupine, and it's just,
Right,
yeah.
the eye is going there.
No kidding. It's,
Right.
it's too light. It's drawing your eye over there. So that's my last step.
Okay,
We're gonna take that down. I'm gonna make it seem like there's two bushes there, one in front of the other, one darker than the other. So good for you. you anticipated. You knew what was looking weird.
Right, but you don't win a prize.
okay.
How are we doing? Am I ready to do the last step? We have 15 minutes to go. Oh, okay. So those are looking very nice electronics, right?
They're looking more and more like rock.
Right. Yep, good. And make sure you're using the dark side of the rock.
Yeah,
You're not outlining the rocks, but you're just doing the dark side. The light side pops up.
right, okay, thank you.
Good. All right, I'm gonna do, this area right here is just too pale. It competes for the attention that I want to go here. I want the rocks to be light, I want this to be dark to draw us there, but this is too, and it's also just very flat. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of what I used there before. I think Windsor Red, Cerulean, I'm just grabbing stuff. Raw Sienna, more Cerulean. Okay. Okay, good. I just got to get this bush is just too damn bright. So I'm going to make it look like there's a bush in front of the other bush. So I am going to tone this whole thing down. Again, a little bit of red, Windsor Red, Cerulean. It really doesn't matter. And I am going to put out some of this little spiky texture. So I get the sense that this is a bush that is overlapping. It's got two layers of it. And were there a little bit more time, or if this were not so wet, I would add a few little sticks and twigs in there to create some texture. But this is just so wet right now that I'm just not gonna try to put in a little twig in that stuff. I could.
Don't chance it.
Yeah, I'm trying the scratch out method, but that's not working either. Yeah, I would add a few dark twigs down there, but I'm not going to fuss with it. You can do a little bit of more dry brush in the sand if you want. Let me take that sand down a little bit. Yeah, I want your eye to go in and out and come back out there. There we go. All right, I think I'll let that go.
Very nice.
So a reminder to everybody that if you send your picture to me by noon on Wednesday, then I will put them all in a little slideshow, and at 5 o'clock Wednesday evening, we'll do a critique where we look at each other's paintings and learn from each other from about between 5 and 6 o'clock. It's not long, but it's a fun thing to share. And even if it's a new painting, new experience for you, it's great for you to share what you've done and let others see what you've done and get some tips or get some kudos for staying with it. So that will be Wednesday at noon. You send me the picture. Wednesday at 5, we look at a slideshow and a critique. All right, I'm gonna end the recording of this, but you're all welcome to stay on for a little bit and paint a little bit more or ask me questions. Record.
Thank you, Ned.
Stop recording.
Recording stopped.
Okay, so continue that. But I still. Oh, I don't want
Thank you, Ned.
to. Okay, good, Donna.
Thanks, Ned.
Thanks, Ned. What's
Okay,
next?
Sheila, thanks so much for your comment. I love having you in the class because you prompt me in good ways.
Well, you were gonna get to that. I know you were gonna get to that, because you were gonna look and say, I gotta make this darker. I can see the different colors. That's really nice.
Right.
In that bush.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, good. And I hope Joan had a good experience too. I know she was on today, so that's great.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I'll give her a call.
Yeah. Fine. All
All
right.
right.
Catch up with you later. Yep. Sure thing.
Thank you. Bye.
Ned, I have a question.
Sure.
Can I go back? Can somebody resend me the class that you did on the Montpelier or Pelia?
Yeah, I could. What do you want? Do you want the?
Well, I need the instructional class. I got the picture all drawn, but I never got anything painted, and I would really like.
Okay. So I will send you. Yeah, the YouTube video of the class.
Yeah, that would be super. Thank you. So there may be another one once I go back and look, but
Okay.
that's the one I like the best.
And it's Lori that's talking to me, right? I'm not.
Right, it sure is.
Yeah. Okay. Let me write that down. That's no problem.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll see you Wednesday.
Yes.